When a man takes on the world, he can't take it on all at once, no matter how much he wants to win.
John Heavens was a giant in our community.
Baseball extraordinaire.
You have to have John as the coach. Because John, one thing I love about John, he would do anything to win a game.
You always had to watch him to make sure he didn't bend the rules on him.
John was always alert. He's always going to see, well, what can I do?
It's competitive. You know, everything is competitive. You know, when you put on the uniform, it's for real.
We didn't hate each other, but we was competitors.
To me, second place is still a losing position.
Game day, it was on.
This is the kind of player I was. I played that way, and I coached that way.
It's all about, winning and playing the right way, and that's what John instilled in us, as, little 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
People say you're a good coach. You can wear the towel. But if you have the horses and you can put them together, it don't take a heck of a coach to put a good ball team together. You just had to keep discipline on the team.
And he really kept a lot of us out of trouble.
The hard ride.
But that's when kids get in trouble during the course of the summer. But John kind of kept us together. We practiced and we played and we spent a lot of time together. And that kept a lot of us kind of off the streets and made sure that a lot of us were doing what we needed to do.
He threw the ball so hard, man. And then when he come, he was right fielder. And when he throw in from right field, it was like a rod coming out. He didn't throw one hop. I see Rod throw all the way in, man. And it was there, man. He would kill a lot of runners trying to take extra base.
I can honestly say I don't ever remember him yelling at anybody. I just don't. That's not his nature.
Nice, man.
It's a compliment. I love it. He calls it to me to this day. If I go to watch my son plays down in Santa Monica High School, and I come walking in, I hear Iceman, so I know it's John. He's probably the only guy that still calls me that. But I love it. I hope he never stops.
He had a curve ball was wicked, and the kids said the heating time is over. The Iceman is here, and the kids believed it. And he had the base loaded once, and he come in and made 9 pitches and walked off the mound.
I don't remember his 9 pitches. Probably closer to 12, 13.
9 pitches, all strikes, man.
John would probably remember.
Travis Clark.
He's one of those guys that's been a big mentor to me in my life. Has taught me a lot growing up and how to be a young man. So John Heavens is there's nobody better than that human being. He's the best human being I've ever been around in my life.
Travis Clark, hell of a baseball player.
I was decent, I could play the game. I was taught by the best, so I had to be pretty good, and some of it rubbed off. I'm not gonna say I was the greatest, but I was pretty good.
Stanley Young, the tank. If you walk him, you can give him second and third. He gonna steal them. If you pitch to him, he gonna get the base hit or bunt it on. He was great, man.
He would teach us things besides baseball. He would just talk to us about, how to be a good person, treating people the right way.
And we played a team in Long Beach, had us 6-0. And going into the bottom of the 6th inning, we tied them up and went in the bottom of the 8th inning with 2 outs. The boy hit one, and Tony went back to center field and ran to the fence. He caught the ball, but when he hit the fence so hard, the ball popped out and dropped over the fence.
Why did I get into coaching? Because of John Heavens. I would never thought about coaching.
Tony was trying, and everybody was trying, and I didn't get angry. There's nobody on team get angry. And I went out and told him, I said, look, man, you can just smile. I said, you was playing some guys gonna go on and play a lot of baseball.
I just love giving back to kids the same way John, did for us.
One kid never played on, didn't never make that team because he had one more year to go on that team with Tony, was Junior Thurman.
You never want to let John Heavens down. So you always want to play your best, for him, because, he was working hard for us.
Thurman was a ball player.
I bought my home in the Valley about almost 16 years ago now. And my water pressure wasn't the best. And one Saturday morning, man, John just knocks on my door, and we put a new main line from the street to the house, man. That's just the kind of person he was.
John Evans is a person devoted to kids, regardless if they're playing baseball or whatever their endeavor is.
Have the best water flow in Southern California now, thanks to John Heavens.
I feel bad. I remember one game, I think this is probably the last year I played for John, and we were playing a good team from Harvard College, and they kind of got to me that game. They got the best of me. John came out and he goes, Iceman, we just don't have the stuff today. And I remember looking at the ground, and I said, I'm going to bounce this ball off the rubber, then I'm going to hand it to him after that. And I threw it, tried to bounce it off the rubber, and sure enough, it hit the end of the rubber and shot off to the side. And I felt terrible because John actually thought that when he pulled me out that I slammed the ball down on the ground. And then after the game, he asked me, he said, Iceman, do you think that I deserved that? And I said, heck no, not you, John.
I was a good disciplinary.
If you make an error out there, he's coming to hit the ball back to you even harder.
He used to catch me, barehanded. I remember, I used to pitch, and he would just catch me barehanded.
They didn't talk back. When they talked back, I was in good shape. If a kid in Little League, they would make errors, I'll make them run.
We would come out here on Sundays, he would pick us up, we're 10, 11, 12 years old, and John would throw us 100 curveballs, because he said, you have to be able to hit the curveball.
I would be more excited about practice than I was the games, because it was whether or not I was going to be able to hit his curveball in practice. That was the challenge. I could hit the rest of the 11 and 12-year-olds I was going to play against. That wasn't a challenge. But to be able to hit John's curveball in batting practice, and hit home runs, he was like, oh, you may get a hit, but you'll never hit a home run.
I think it's not so much developing talent. I think it's developing young people. Your best coaches are the ones that you remember that coached you in Little League. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was about building character in a young person.
You was part of a community, and you want to pass on to these kids, that when you do something, you do it right.
It became fun, it became a challenge, and it became, to me, it became more than just a game.
When a man takes on the world, he can only take on one piece at a time.
John's saying was, just make the average play.
My father actually passed away 16 days before I was born. And, there were people like John Heavens that kind of stood in the gap.
My dad wasn't really there for me as a kid, so John took over those responsibilities, and I look up to him for this day.
John was very, very positive, not only in my life, but all the other kids that just were around him from a Little League standpoint, or even in the neighborhood where he lived. He was very positive.
John's the guy that brought me my first glove. He bought me my first baseball glove.
Father figure.
John was like that dad none of the kids had.
One thing I did enjoy about John, he would always ask you about life and how school was, and just how are things going, any girl problems and so forth.
My kids about life through the sport of baseball, and he was just, there's nobody better.
John always kind of told us, baseball's second, life is first, make sure you take care of your schooling and so forth, and he's absolutely right.
There's no telling where I would have been without him. It just takes a village to raise a child, so I'm thankful that he was a part of my village.
It was great times. It was great times. It was good fun to be around the kids and to see them grow up and turn into young men and women. Some of them have a good life.
John, I love you, appreciate everything you've done, and you continue to do to the community, and take care of yourself.
And one of the most amazing people I've ever known in my life. He's like a father figure to me.
1, 2, 3, 7. If I can give young people half the time that you gave them, then I know, my life won't be wasted or it won't be in vain, man. Just thank you 10 million times. Thank you.
For a young African-American man and growing up in Santa Monica, everybody knew John Heavens.
You were that person that we all looked up to, and if I can speak for them, I just know that you will never be forgotten. You were that dad that we never had, John. All right? Love you.
When they meet me, they still treat me like I'm special in their life, And that's straight, and that's make me feel good.
For the Santa Monica Mirror, I'm Spencer Lee.